The story begins with two twin babies growing up in an orphanage under the care of a nanny named Shanti. One day, a businessman from Singapore named Peter came to adopt a child. However, he did not take both of them but only chose one baby. The other baby was left behind because her fingers were stuck together. The baby who was left behind grew up with the name Diao and was often bullied by mean kids who called her a cripple. So, she told teacher Shanti that she wanted to be someone else because she thought she would be happier that way. But teacher Shanti advised her that everyone can be happy in their own way. Maybe she did not understand yet, but one day she would. Diao liked to use watercolors to paint on paper and then fold it to create a matching image on both sides. During that time, a man named Bodyguard brought watercolors to the little girl and asked her to go with him, promising that if she agreed, she would live a comfortable life. Diao wondered and asked if that was true, and he said it was. However, when looking into the man's eyes, she immediately realized he was lying. It turns out Diao has a special power, which is that she can tell when someone is lying. Bodyguard looked surprised and asked how she knew. Diao simply answered that she just knew and asked why he wanted to adopt her. Bodyguard explained that a feng shui master told him that if he raised a spirit animal, he would become rich. But because he did not like raising animals, he decided to raise a human instead. Wanting to escape the place where she was being kept, Diao agreed to follow Bodyguard. The place he took her to was his own private casino, a kingdom named Mai Tai. Time passed quickly and Diao grew up. The small casino from before had now turned into a large club, a place where illegal activities happened. Diao has a bodyguard named Tan. One day, he came to call her and reported that there was a new customer who wanted to open a membership card. This guest was being taken care of by the big sister, who manages the girls there named Mary. The guest said that he owned many casinos and wanted to become a member here. Diao had to do her job, using her special power to check this man. She quickly discovered that he was an undercover cop. Immediately, Tan took care of the cop's men, while Diao chased the man away. But Bodyguard saw it in time. He ordered his men to drag the cop into the back room and used a golf club to take care of him. Bodyguard told Diao that she couldn't let him go because it would cause trouble for them. Diao replied that she had her own way of handling things. Bodyguard then handed a gun to Diao, but she didn't take it. In the end, he had to pull the trigger himself and scolded her to never talk back to him in front of everyone. Feeling very stressed and like there was no way out, Diao suddenly felt a sharp pain in her chest, but then she smiled happily. Right after that, she found herself in another body, which was the body of Lin, her twin sister. Every time she feels chest pain, she has exactly 10 seconds to enter her twin sister's body, a perfect body with a clear identity. She got to live as Lin, the daughter of Peter, a businessman who owns a famous hospital. After the 10 seconds were up, she went back to her own body. This swap didn't just happen one way. Not only could Diao enter Lin's body, but Lin could also enter Diao's body. She wrote on a sticky note that her name was Lin and she would find Diao. Even though Lin had a wealthy life, she had heart disease and needed a heart transplant as soon as possible. However, the search for a matching heart still hadn't worked out. Her father advised her to rest a lot and not overwork herself. Just then Lin fainted right in the car. He rushed her to the hospital because her heart had stopped beating. The doctors and nurses had to perform CPR and use a defibrillator to get her heart beating again. Peter asked the doctor about the progress of finding a heart for his daughter. The doctor explained that finding a heart for Lin's transplant was extremely difficult. The reason was that when she was little, she had a severe infection. Even though she survived, that event caused her body to react against it and develop in an unusual way. The doctor suggested that Peter cancel a research project he was working on, because that would be better for Lin's condition. However, Peter refused and demanded they find a heart for Lin as fast as possible. The story goes back to Thailand, where Diao told Tan that today she was in Lin's body again. He asked her in surprise if she wasn't just imagining everything, and if that woman really existed. Diao admitted that at first she also thought everything was just her imagination, to the point that she even went to see a psychiatrist. This condition, she explained, had started since she was a child. She shared that every time she was in Lin's body, she felt extremely happy. It was a life where she didn't have a disability and didn't have to live in an environment like this. Her twin sister was both wealthy and very beautiful. Tan then complimented her, saying that if Lin was beautiful, then Diao was just as beautiful too. That night, Tan gave Diao a watch box. This was a gift that Bodyguard had bought for her, which was usually a sign that he was about to give her a mission. Diao opened up about the special power she was given, something she called a blessing, but she didn't actually like it very much. That gift felt more like a curse to her than an ability. Tan wondered if there was anyone whose lies Diao couldn't detect. She shook her head and said there had never been anyone. Even with Tan, she always knew every time he lied. When she asked him if he was hungry or tired, and he answered no, she knew they were lies. Looking straight into her eyes, Tan wanted to know what else she knew. Diao replied that he should speak first, and then she would answer. Right at that moment, both were shocked to see a place in front of them burning intensely. which was the orphanage where Diao used to live. She rushed over there to save the children. She told Tan to take a little girl out first because she knew the way around there better, while she would go inside to save the rest. Inside the fire, she met Lin, who was standing there waiting for her. When Tan ran in after her, he was completely stunned to see the identical twin sisters standing together. Before he could process what was happening, Lin's men also appeared, making the situation tense. In another scene, the two sisters found a private corner to talk. Neither of them expected that they would have the chance to meet in real life. Lin took hold of Diao's deformed hand and said that if her hand wasn't like that, maybe her father would have adopted her. And the person named Lin right now could have been her. Lin invited Diao to come live with her and promised to treat her hand, because her family owned a hospital. Lin said that she wanted to be with Diao and would make her happy. However, Diao looked straight into Lin's eyes and realized she was lying. She quickly signaled Tan. Immediately, Tan rushed in to fight Lin's men. But Diao was attacked and snatched away during the chaos. When Tan finished dealing with Lin's men, he discovered Diao was gone. Diao was forced into a van, but she tried to jump out. Tan chased after them, pulled his gun and shot the tire, causing the van to lose control and flip over. The accident injured both Lin and Diao. Tan rushed over to carry Diao's body out. 2 days later, Diao woke up in the hospital. She realized she was in Singapore and her fingers were no longer stuck together. She was completely shocked, because the person in Lin's body was not the real Lin, but actually Diao. This also meant that Lin's soul was now in Diao's body. The story flashes back to when Diao was a child. While she was helping Boss Cot spot cheaters in the casino, Lin suddenly had a heart attack. At the same time, her soul unexpectedly entered Diao's body. Terrified, the little girl with Lin's soul tried to run away, but Boss Cot held her back and asked where she was going. The little girl only said that she didn't want to be here anymore. Back to the present, Lin woke up in Diao's body, a strange body with a deformed hand. She was extremely panicked. She tried counting from 1 to 10, hoping that her soul would go back to Lin's body like always, but this time nothing happened. Right then, Tan and Boss Cot walked into the room. Lin in Diao's body immediately told Boss Cot that she wanted to see a doctor, then pretended to have a headache and couldn't see clearly. But Boss Cot told her to look at him closely to see if she could see him. He didn't want her to leave because he thought someone was trying to hurt her. However, Tan thought that if she had those symptoms, she should be allowed to go get checked. At this moment, Diao in Lin's body also tried counting from 1 to 10 but couldn't return to her own body either. Right after that, a nurse walked in, and she immediately pretended to go back to sleep. Back to Lin when she got to the hospital. She asked the nurse to let her have a heart checkup. Even though the nurse gave many reasons why it couldn't be done yet, Lin still insisted it was a patient's right. Finally, Lin was taken for a heart checkup. The results showed that the heart of this body was completely healthy, a feeling Lin had never experienced before. Just then, Tan's phone rang, a number from abroad. Before he could answer, the nurse took Lin out of the room. Tan quickly called back, but the person who picked up was Peter. He tried to ask who was on the other end, but Tan had to hurry into the car and didn't have time to say anything. Right after that, Tan's phone rang again, still the same number. This time he answered in time and heard Diao's voice trembling, panicking as she announced that she was in Lin's body, while the person in her body was now Lin. Tan was very confused, stepped out of the car to hear better, and noticed the sounds of a struggle on the phone, as if Diao was being held back by nurses. At the same time, Lin in Diao's body also called Tan, her voice cold as she told him if nothing was wrong, then hurry up and don't waste time. In Singapore, because she pushed herself too hard in Lin's body, Diao started feeling heart pain and fainted. Peter then ordered all the nurses to collect all phones from the hospital room to avoid a similar situation. Back to Lin in Diao's body. She asked Tan for a new phone because her old one was lost. The way Lin talked this time made Tan feel it was unusual. He tested her by blaming himself for not taking good care of her that day. And Lin calmly replied that it was okay, but next time he should do better and not let any mistakes happen. This bossy way of talking was completely different from the usual Diao, who always saw Tan as a friend. Right then, Diao's body suddenly felt a sharp pain in the heart. This made the real Diao's soul actually return to her own body, but for only 10 seconds. Diao hurried to say that she was stuck in Lin's body, while Lin was in her body, and asked Tan for help. Tan was still confused, so Diao reminded him of something from the past that only the two of them knew to prove her words, that the boy at the orphanage back then was Tan, the one who helped her when she was bullied, and she thanked him for not calling her hurtful names. Time ended before she could finish. Lin's soul returned to Diao's body and asked what had just happened. Diao realized she had just returned to her real body for just a short moment. Tan worriedly asked about the chest pain Diao had just gone through, and Lin in Diao's body replied that she felt better, but still didn't understand what had just happened when she saw tears rolling down the cheeks of her body. Going back to the past when Diao was a child and being bullied. The person who stepped in to help her deal with those mean kids was Tan as a child. In the past, Tan also used to live in the same orphanage as Diao. The boy threw a chair down for her so she could climb out of an empty swimming pool. Back to the present, Jiao woke up in Lin's body and remembered what she had just tried to say to Tan. Meanwhile, Tan went to see Boss Cott and said that he felt Jiao was very unusual lately, like a completely different person, from her words to her gestures and attitude. He wanted Boss Cott, who had been with Jiao all this time, to try and verify this. In Singapore, a strange phone number called Peter, and it was Lin. She told her father that she was in Jiao's body, a body with a very healthy heart, with only one flaw being the deformed hand. First, her father didn't believe it, but Lin proved it by telling him his secret email and password, something only Lin would know. This made Peter extremely shocked. Lin told Peter that she was about to get a new heart without having to do anything at all. Back in Thailand, Boss Cott wanted to check if Jiao was really acting unusual. He took her to test something. Boss Cott asked Lin in Jiao's body to ask Mary the truth about the police officer from the other day, to see if Mary knew him from before. First, Lin felt confused because she thought anyone could do the questioning. She then asked Mary if she knew that police officer. Mary replied that she couldn't do much either, because the only person who gave her orders was Jiao. Right then, Jiao turned back to inform Boss Cott that Mary confirmed she didn't know that police officer. However, Boss Cott was not satisfied and asked Lin to ask again. When Lin asked one more time, Mary then admitted that she did know that police officer from before, but didn't know anything else. Once she got the answer, Lin acted satisfied and left. Mary immediately shared with Boss Cott and Tan that Jiao seemed to have a problem this time because she had just lied about everything, but Jiao completely failed to detect it. This made Boss Cott feel uneasy. He worried that he had lost the spirit animal that the feng shui master had mentioned. He called the feng shui master to ask what to do if the spirit animal was lost, and received an answer that just finding a new spirit animal was enough, as long as that spirit animal had a disability. The answer from the feng shui master made Boss Cott think heavily, not knowing how to act next. Meanwhile, in Singapore, Peter came to see Jiao and advised her to rest a lot. He asked her who she had called that day and if there was anything he could help with, because he really wanted to help her. Jiao asked back in surprise if he really wanted to help her. When Peter confirmed that he did, she looked straight into his eyes and realized he was lying. Not only could her soul enter Lin's body, but her special power also followed her. She quickly pretended to have a heart attack so the doctors would rush in. Immediately after that, she attacked both the doctors and nurses, and then escaped. The story of Jiao's childhood flashed back in her mind. Boss Cott once taught her that if one day she faced a problem and had only two choices left, to fight or to run, then the situation was already very bad. He told her she should choose to run first because if she tried to fight, she wouldn't be able to win. And so Jiao, wearing a nurse's uniform, quickly escaped outside, free among the shadows of the hospital. In another scene, there was a police officer named Mac. While he was talking on the phone with his wife, who had asked him to buy some things while he was on his way home, he discovered someone hiding in his car. Mac thought it was a criminal, but it was Jiao in Lin's body. She said she wasn't Lin but Lin's twin sister, and begged Mac to help her escape. Meanwhile, Mac lives with his mother-in-law, his wife named Sua, and his daughter named Phi. At that time, Sua and her mother were arguing about asking Mac to buy things because he still hadn't come home yet. Sua's mother didn't like Mac very much because she thought he worked hard but didn't make enough money to provide for the family. Right then Mac arrived home, but he forgot the things his wife asked him to buy. Instead, he brought Jiao into the house. The whole family was shocked to see Lin show up there. His wife thought Mac was bringing more trouble home. When their daughter Phi saw Lin in the house, she was very happy because she was a fan of Lin. Back in Thailand, Lin in Jiao's body was feeling very frustrated. When she saw the watercolor paintings Jiao usually painted, she swept them aside, making everything fall and break into pieces. She texted her father, asking him to contact her urgently. Right then Mary walked into the room, trying to start a conversation with Lin. Lin asked directly that if there was something to say then just say it. Mary mentioned Jiao's twin sister in Singapore, saying she had looked into it and knew that person was both beautiful and rich, the complete opposite of Jiao. Lin curiously asked what Mary wanted, but before she could get an answer, Tan walked in and reported that Boss Cott was calling. At the same time, Peter called Lin back. But because she was with Boss Cott at the time, he took the phone and turned on the speaker. Peter pretended to speak English and mentioned the surgery they had discussed before, which made Boss Cott very annoyed, and he snapped, asking why they had to use English. Lin quickly explained that she was going to have plastic surgery on her hand abroad, specifically in Singapore. However, Boss Cott firmly refused to allow it. He declared that this hand was his, Lin had no right to do anything to it, and didn't need any treatment at all. This statement made Lin burst into tears. She went back to her room and kept crying to get Tan's attention. Tan indeed entered the room and hugged her to comfort her. Lin then pulled Tan in and kissed him, but Tan backed away because the normal Jiao would never do something like that, and then he left. Turns out, Lin's action was just to distract him and steal Tan's phone. In Singapore, Jiao borrowed Phi's phone to call Tan, but the person who picked up was Lin. Jiao asked Lin what she had done to Tan, but Lin replied that she hadn't done anything, but it was actually Tan who did something to her. She said she really liked being in this body, even with a deformed hand. She challenged Jiao to just go ahead and enjoy the happy life in her body, and to remember that the body could die at any time and wouldn't live much longer. As for her, she would use Jiao's body to be with a good and healthy man like Tan. Right then, Tan came looking for his phone, but Lin had cleverly placed it outside the door, making it look like he accidentally dropped it. After that, Lin had to dance with Boss Cot. He asked about her condition, whether her legs still hurt. Lin replied that it was still a bit sore and asked for permission to go out and buy new clothes. Boss Cot agreed but asked Tan to go along. Lin chose a very sexy outfit, the kind that the old Jiao would definitely never wear. She asked Tan to tie the strings of her shirt and even asked with confidence that he had never seen her look this beautiful before, right? Tan replied that surely her twin sister was just as beautiful, but Lin didn't say anything more. On Jiao's side, Mac took her to the embassy to help her return to Thailand, but he didn't expect the staff there were Peter's insiders. They tricked Jiao into filling out some papers while secretly calling to report to Peter. A moment later, a male staff member announced that Peter had arrived. Peter walked in and took Jiao away. Despite all her explanations that she wasn't Lin but Jiao, he only coldly said that no matter what she said, no one would believe it and then led her away. On the way, Peter told Jiao that no matter where she tried to hide, she couldn't escape his hands. Mac witnessed the whole thing and drove after them. When Peter discovered a car was following, he immediately ordered the driver to drive very fast, even ignoring traffic laws. At this time in Thailand, Tan was waiting for Lin when he discovered she had suddenly disappeared. At the same time in Singapore, Jiao tried to escape by punching herself in the heart, causing her soul and Lin's soul to swap for 10 seconds. She felt a sharp pain in her heart and was about to faint. Right then, Jiao returned to her own body in Thailand. At the same time, Peter's men had also just arrived to take Lin away. Jiao tried to fight back and called for Tan to save her. Both of them tried to reach their hands toward each other. But when the 10 seconds were up, Lin returned to Jiao's body and ordered her subordinates to let go and deal with Tan. Tan had to fight all of Peter's men and tried to chase after, but Lin managed to get into a van in time. However, the driver was knocked out by Boss Cot. He stepped in and restrained Lin in Jiao's body. Now, he was completely sure that the person in Jiao's body was not the real girl. After that, Boss Cot tied Lin up and called Peter. Peter asked if his daughter was okay. He could hear Lin's voice over the phone and knew she was being hurt. Boss Cot demanded Peter bring Jiao out to talk. But Peter hung up because at this time Jiao was still in critical condition and hadn't woken up yet. He then choked Lin, forcing her to say to the camera that Peter should bring Jiao out to talk, or else he would harm her. When Peter saw this video, he was extremely worried for Lin. He immediately called the doctor and asked when Jiao would wake up. The doctor explained that her body needed time to recover, and when she got stronger she would wake up on her own. But Peter did not accept that and demanded the doctor use every possible way to stimulate her to wake up. Just then Mac, who was still following, walked in to confront Peter. Peter then scolded Mac, saying he still hadn't changed at all, was still doing low-level work, and was just as unimpressive as before. Turns out the two of them had a conflict in the past. Peter even reassured Mac that he didn't need to worry because Peter would pay the fines himself. Tan, who had just arrived, eavesdropped on the conversation and followed Peter. Mac saw Tan and asked why he was following Peter, then asked to see his passport. From that, Mac realized Tan was the person Jiao said would come to save her. He immediately took Tan with him. Back in Thailand, Mary was talking to the staff in the shop about how Jiao hadn't come out to work lately, just staying cooped up in her room, and they didn't know where she had disappeared to. Back in Singapore, Mac tried to ask Tan about Mai Tai, whether that place was really carrying out illegal activities. But Tan only said there was nothing. Mac continued to say that the place was holding the secrets of many powerful people, and no one could take anything out of there. His subordinates and even police from other countries had gone in there and never came back. But Tan still insisted that there was nothing there. Mac then said that right now Jiao was in a very bad state and even had a heart shock. This statement made Tan extremely worried about Jiao. Meanwhile, Peter was talking to his secretary about having to postpone all his plans, but there was an important investment signing ceremony that Lin had to attend and could not be delayed. The secretary suggested that they should inform the partners that Lin was not feeling well and was sick. But Peter could not let others know about this because he was in the hospital business, and it would damage his reputation. Just then Jiao woke up. Peter immediately recorded a video, forcing her to say that she was still safe. Jiao gently replied that she was currently safe, just a bit tired, and didn't forget to mention feeding the cat. The video was quickly sent to Boss Ku. After getting the news, he immediately called Tan and told him to save Jiao at all costs, because now they were one step ahead of the opponent. Flashing back to the past, Boss Ku once taught Jiao that if she faced an emergency where her lie detecting power didn't work, Or if it was something extremely serious, she should use the password, forgot to feed the cat. Back to the present, Boss Ka hung Diao's watercolor paintings back in their old place. Mary walked into the room, announcing that she came to get the work schedule and claimed she could handle any job Diao used to do. Boss Ka casually brushed her off, saying Mary didn't fully understand Diao's abilities yet, and told her to just do her own job and not interfere in this matter. Those words made Mary very angry. She cursed Boss Ku under her breath and left. After that, Mac took Tan to his house. His mother and wife were not very happy, but when Phi heard Tan's name, she recognized it immediately because she remembered Diao had mentioned him and said Tan was someone special. Just then, the news on TV announced the upcoming investment signing ceremony, and that Lin would also attend this event. Both of them immediately made a plan to rescue Diao on that day. Back at Mai Tai, a girl in the club, who was Mary's subordinate, came to invite the person guarding Lin's door to go to a party, saying the party was short on guys. She tried to pull him away. This was actually Mary's plan so she could go in and talk privately with Lin. She didn't know the person inside wasn't the real Diao. Lin asked Mary for help. Mary acted suspicious and asked if Diao's twin sister in Singapore really needed her help that much, and if there was enough money to pay her. Lin offered to pay 20 million baht. However, Mary refused, thinking that amount of money wasn't worth the risk of helping Lin escape, emphasizing that at Mai Tai, getting out was extremely difficult. Facing this situation, Lin asked for a phone to call, and asked how much the other side was willing to pay for helping her. That night, Tan secretly broke into the hospital, disguised as an orderly, and went to meet Diao. When Diao met Tan, she was extremely happy and rushed to hug him. Tan told Diao that at the signing ceremony, she should just attend as Lin and not worry. He gave her a cell phone to make it easy to stay in touch. After that, Tan and Mac went back to continue planning. Mac's wife walked back and forth, her face still unhappy because there were too many strangers in her house. Diao contacted Tan, saying she agreed with the escape plan. Both of them then set out for the event location. Diao sent a message saying she was ready. Mac went to ask a person who was preparing balloons in that area, but after asking for a while, he discovered that the event was not being held there. Diao was being taken to another place. She was put into a van. Diao secretly called Tan and tried to ask the nurse where they were going, but they only answered that Peter ordered them to take her away. A bodyguard in the front pointed a gun at her, signaling her to be quiet. When Tan heard the chaotic sounds over the phone, he was extremely worried for Diao. The story flashes back to when Lin was little. She was living happily with her family, with her father Peter and her mother. One day, Lin's mother took her to Peter's lab. Right then, a researcher dropped and broke a test tube containing a new virus. Immediately after that, the researcher died right in front of Lin's eyes. The virus entered both her mother's and Lin's bodies. That incident caused her mother to pass away. Lin being infected with the virus was the reason her heart became weak. During the time Lin was sick, Peter didn't even dare to go near her. The story returns to the present. After that, Diao, in Lin's body, was taken to a villa where they would sign the contract. Peter blocked all her exits. However, he didn't know that Diao still kept a phone with her. She texted Tan, and Tan quickly followed the trail to support her, reporting that this place had many bodyguards and Lin had to find a way and the right time to escape. Meanwhile, Diao talked to the man about to sign the contract today, calling Mai Tai the best club in Bangkok. Suddenly, a big explosion went off. It was caused by Mac. Diao, in Lin's identity, then contacted Tan to say she was ready. Right after that, Tan rushed in to fight Peter's subordinates and rescued Diao. Once he had taken Diao away, Tan called Boss Kot. Boss Kot told Tan to find a hiding place first, and then he would come help later. This time, Diao's condition wasn't very good, so Tan asked Mac to take them to a safe place to hide. Back to Thailand. Oh eavesdropped on Boss Kot's conversation with Tan about going to pick up Diao to bring her back. She told Mary about this, making both of them suspect what was really happening and who the person staying here actually was. Mary told O about the time Boss Kot brought Lin in Diao's body to test her lie detection talent, but since it was Lin, she couldn't do it. After that, Mary searched the internet for news about Lin and discovered that Lin had a habit where she often tucked her hair behind her ear when she was confused. She remembered that when Diao couldn't detect lies, she had done the exact same thing. Back in Singapore, Mac took Diao and Tan to hide at an old temple. Tan wiped Diao's body because her condition still hadn't improved. Diao told Tan that Lin's body has a very weak heart, and she could die at any moment. She could only hold on because of the medicine she had with her. If the medicine runs out, everything will end. But Tan reassured her that medicine can be bought, and he would do everything to help her get her body back. Diao shared that every time she feels heart pain, she can go back to her own body, but it is only temporary. In the end, she still has to come back here. The time spent in Lin's body made her miss Mai Tai, miss the place she used to hate, and miss the cramped room she never wanted to stay in. But who would have thought? That was actually the best thing for her. At this time, Tan encouraged Diao and also confessed that he liked her. Diao was curious to know the level of his feelings, and Tan replied that his feelings were very deep. Thanks to her special power, Diao knew that Tan was not lying at all. As for Lin, when Mary was sure the person in front of her was not Diao, she proposed a deal to help Lin escape in exchange for a sum of money. Lin then called her father, and Peter picked up. She said she needed 50 million baht to transfer to the person who would help her. Peter suggested giving him 2 to 3 days to prepare. Hearing that, Mary muttered, wondering about the real love Lin's father had for her. The story flashes back to the past when Lin had to become a test subject to test antiviral medicine. Peter and the researchers took her bone marrow to produce the medicine. During that time, Lin had to endure endless pain and suffering. Back to the present, Peter went to see a researcher in the lab and discovered that the amount of medicine made from Lin's bone marrow had run out, and they could only produce more medicine if they had Lin's body. After that, Peter released the security camera footage showing Tan kidnapping Diao, and the police issued an arrest warrant for Tan. Tan called to report this news to Boss Kot, saying that his situation was very bad and he probably couldn't go anywhere. Boss Kot was extremely angry because he had arranged with powerful people to bring Diao back to the country illegally. He asked to speak directly with Diao. She tiredly said that she was a bit exhausted and just wanted to go home, and then she burst into tears. Boss Kot comforted her, saying she would get to go back and that her father would come pick her up later. Then he told Tan not to go anywhere and to wait until he arrived before they met. When Max saw the news about the warrant for Tan, he was very worried, but the person who was even more worried was Sua, his wife. She didn't want Mac to get involved in this. However, Mac was determined to catch Peter because he was involved with illegal substances. Tan and Diao had promised to help him expose this. He didn't want illegal goods to spread because he was afraid that one day it would affect their daughter. He begged Sua to trust him just once. In another place, Mary gave the phone to Lin so she could call Peter back. But this time, Peter didn't answer the phone. Lin was very worried and told Mary to help her escape no matter what, saying she had her own money and could pay Mary more than the amount she asked for. Mary said to give her 2 to 3 days and then she would help her escape. The next day, Peter's secretary got a clear picture of Tan's face. Peter ordered to send this photo to the embassy. If it matched the person who entered the country, they should turn him over to the police immediately. When the news spread, Mac's family couldn't stay at home anymore, because Peter would definitely send people to deal with them. Max stayed at the house and didn't run anywhere, because he was afraid his family was in danger, and he accepted being arrested easily. Tan then called Phi to ask about Mac's situation, wanting to know if he was safe. However, Sua replied that her husband had to take such a risk just to help the two of them, and from now on, they should not contact each other anymore. Tan then called Boss Ku, saying he couldn't hide here much longer because Peter would investigate and find out sooner or later. Boss Ku told Tan to just wait. He was on his way and to take good care of Diao. Meanwhile, Mac's family had to go to his mother's house to take refuge. Just then, Tan contacted them again and said he was very sorry, and to trust in Mac because Mac is a good person. What Mac said about Peter doing bad things was all true. In another scene, Dr. Du overheard Peter talking to his subordinates that they had caught Mac and must find Lin at all costs. When he was about to step into the elevator, Dr. Du rushed in with him. Peter told Dr. Du that if he couldn't find Lin, he would use her sick daughter as a replacement test subject. Dr. Du was extremely shocked. Back in Thailand, Mary told O that after helping Lin escape and getting the money, she would leave this place with Lin. She had already made a passport, not wanting to live in this hell for one more second, and invited O to go along. But O didn't dare to go because she was afraid that if Boss Ko found out, they would both be killed. The two of them were very close to each other. When O knew that Mary was about to leave, she cried loudly because she was sad. But Mary comforted her, telling her not to be sad and to send her bank account number, because when she got the money, she would transfer a part to O, because O had also helped her many times. Back to Dr. Du, she brought a medical bag in to check the wounds of Mac, who had just been tortured. Mac begged her for help. After that, Mac took Dr. Du as a hostage and successfully escaped. The story flashes back to the moment Dr. Du refused Peter's request, asserting that she would absolutely not let her daughter become a test subject. However, Peter replied that he would continue to take care of her daughter, because the little girl was still sick. Dr. Du emphasized that her daughter was her whole life, but Peter coldly replied that she had no choice. Back to the present, Peter ordered his people to find Tan. Just then, a subordinate called to report to Peter that Mac had escaped and had taken Dr. Du as a hostage. Right then, Boss Ko also just arrived in Singapore. He contacted Tan to set up a meeting. Back in Thailand, Mary made a deal with one of Boss Ko's subordinates, asking him to clear the way for her escape and promising to pay him well. He agreed. After that, Mac contacted a senior colleague in the police force. The police sent people to protect his family. Dr. Du also agreed to testify to expose Peter's crimes. Sua came to tell Mac that after this story ends, He must absolutely quit this job and never do it again. Mac promised. As for Tan and Diao, both of them arrived at the meeting point to meet Boss Ku, but he wasn't in the car. He was waiting below. When they met Diao, the father and daughter hugged each other because they missed each other. Boss Ku told Tan to turn on the GPS, and the driver would take them to the pier. However, when they got near the pier, Tan and Diao thought they should get out of the car and walk, because they didn't know if anyone was ambushing the pier. They told Boss Ku to go ahead and prepare the boat first. Right then, Peter saw the news that Dr. Du had surrendered to the police to be a witness and expose his illegal experiments. Peter's secretary also came to report that they found a suspicious person speaking Thai at the pier. Peter then ordered to prepare a car and even a helicopter just in case. After that, Lin was dressed in different clothes by Mary and was prepared to be taken out of Mai Tai. When passing the bodyguards, no one dared to stop them because they thought she was Diao. Back at the pier, Peter's subordinates had been sent there and intended to arrest Diao. A fight broke out. Diao managed to grab a gun. Tan then told Diao to run ahead first. While running, Diao suddenly felt a severe heart attack. She ran to where Boss Ku was at the pier. Boss Ku immediately hugged his daughter, not knowing at all that the heart attack had caused Lin and Diao to swap bodies. And Lin, with the gun in her hand, fired at Boss Ku and said, "Welcome to Singapore." Immediately after that, Diao swapped back to her own body at Mai Tai, and realized Mary was planning to help Lin and Diao's body escape. She blocked Mary. Just then, Boss Ku's subordinates walked in. Mary shouted that Diao was trying to run away, and told them to catch her. Then Mary escaped alone. When the 10 seconds were up, Diao returned to Lin's body at the pier and was shocked to see Boss Ku had been shot and collapsed. Everyone quickly ran away to hide. When Peter got to the pier, no one was there. He decided to fly to Thailand right away. The next day, Mary called O reported that everyone had returned and there were many people, and she didn't know what had happened. Mary then told O to throw away the phone used for communication, and absolutely not to tell anyone about this story. Boss Ku, who was shot, had been treated and was out of danger but still had to rest in his room. Diao, in Lin's body, said that she wanted to get her body back. She would try to make herself so tired that her heart would beat fast so she could swap back. But Boss Ku worried that it was too risky. He did not want Lin to continue living. He wanted Lin to die in Diao's body. As for Diao, in Lin's weak body, he would find a doctor to treat her. But Diao did not want that because it was her body, and she would have to give up her name along with that body. Peter came to Mai Tai with the intention of meeting Boss Ku. O went to report the news to him, but when asked if she knew where Mary was, she denied it and only gave him Peter's business card. When leaving the room, O asked Tan about the situation. She thought that person was Diao's twin sister and wondered why they had to lock Diao in the basement. Tan avoided the question and lied, saying it was because Diao tried to run away. Tan met Boss Ku just as he was leaving his bedroom to meet Peter. Boss Ku said he would go alone and asked Tan how he felt about Diao. Tan admitted that he loved her. Boss Ku brushed it off, saying they had to settle this business first before talking more. As for Mary, after losing the money from Lin, she called Peter and offered a deal, claiming she knew how to get Lin out of the holding area. At that time, Boss Ku walked in. Peter proposed a blunt plan: spread a highly contagious virus and sell the antiviral medicine, but his goal was to get Lin's body and a healthy heart, regardless of which soul was inside. Boss Ku asked about his share of the profit. Peter suggested a 70-30 split, but Boss Ku didn't agree and demanded 50-50. Peter looked very unhappy because he had invested a lot of money, but Boss Ku replied that if Peter didn't agree, then there was nothing to discuss, and if he did agree, he would have to wait for him to find a lawyer to draft the contract. But Peter couldn't wait. He immediately contacted Mary and asked how much she wanted to help get Lin out of there. Mary asked for 50 million Singapore dollars. Peter agreed. Mary then contacted O again. She was smiling happily because she was about to become unimaginably rich. Meanwhile, Tan searched the dressing room and found the phone that O had hidden. He then reported this to Diao, who had now cut her hair short in her own style. Tan told Diao that she should decide what to do quickly because the medicine she was carrying was almost gone. This time, Peter had rented an abandoned building to use as a temporary surgery room. Early the next morning, Mary let Peter's men to break into Mai Tai to rescue Lin. She told Lin that Peter also wanted to get Diao's body. This made Lin unhappy, because she was afraid that her father was just using her. Lin then ran into Diao's room and attacked her. Right then, Mary also ran in and tried to stop her. Diao stopped breathing. Mary performed CPR on Diao, but it didn't work. She then took the medicine she received from Peter and injected it into Diao. Diao started breathing again. They then took Diao's body away. After that, Mary called Peter to demand the rest of the money, but Peter said that once the surgery was finished, he would transfer the money immediately. When Tan entered Diao's room, he discovered she was gone. He tried to contact her, but she didn't have her phone with her. At this time, Diao had not woken up yet. Peter then had his men call a doctor to check the situation. Meanwhile, Boss Ku dragged Oh in to interrogate her for the truth. Being pressured, Oh admitted that she had helped Mary and used this very cell phone to contact her. Hearing that, Boss Ku ordered Oh to call Mary, saying that she had been caught and was trying to escape. However, Oh said worriedly that Mary wouldn't believe it, because in their world, anyone who ever thought about running away would only have one end, which was losing their life. Boss Ku still coldly demanded it, saying she had to make the story convincing in any way, as long as Mary believed it was true. This time, Tan asked an IT expert to help hack the phone on the other end to determine Mary's location. He told Oh to try to stretch out the conversation with Mary, so they could determine the location within 1 minute. When Mary heard the news that Oh was caught and was escaping, she apologized and said she couldn't help with anything, only advising Oh to try to escape, and then she quickly threw her phone away. She was also very heartbroken because she couldn't help her friend. There wasn't enough time to determine the exact location, but they knew the nearby area. Oh begged Tan to help her not be killed. This time, Diao's soul was lost in the spirit world and could not return to her body. Tan brought the information about the location to Boss Ku. Boss Ku asked Tan if he knew what Peter planned to do with both of their bodies. Tan said he thought Peter planned to perform heart transplant surgery, but he didn't know which body Diao's soul would be in. Peter found a shady doctor in Thailand to perform the surgery. The doctor said that the body receiving the weak heart might not live for very long. He asked to work for Peter if this surgery was successful. Right then, Lin eavesdropped on the conversation. As for Mary, she went to ask for a cigarette from Peter's subordinates. While she was about to smoke, Lin ran into her. Mary and Peter's men chased and caught her, leading to a struggle. Lin fell to the ground and lost consciousness. Lin's soul also got lost in the spirit world and met Diao. The doctor said he needed to check Lin's condition carefully first, but Peter couldn't wait and ordered the doctor to operate immediately. At the same time, Boss Ku's group arrived at the place. But the doctor didn't dare to operate because he was afraid it would affect both of them. Peter still insisted on making him do it right away. Just then, Boss Ku stormed in and immediately captured Mary, coldly saying that the two of them had things to settle. Not stopping there, he pulled out his gun and threatened her, forcing Tan to lead the men in to take both Lin and Diao out. The situation quickly got out of control, and a fierce gunfight broke out. This time, Boss Ku managed to get both bodies out. Right then, Tan was about to be attacked from behind. Mary screamed to warn Tan, and because of that, he escaped danger. After that, Boss Ku rushed in to fight Peter and finished him off. Meanwhile, Tan was fighting Peter's men, and an accident happened to the person carrying both Lin and Diao's bodies. In the spirit world, a bolt of lightning tore through the sky and struck down, making the ground under their feet crack into a deep chasm. Diao and Lin's souls wobbled, about to be sucked down into the abyss. Tan hurriedly reached out his hand to grab them, trying to hold on while calling Diao's name in a panic as if he was afraid of losing her immediately. The story shifts to a memory from long ago, when Diao and Lin were children. At that time, Lin only needed to jump around to make her heart beat fast, and she would suddenly swap bodies with Diao. One time, when Lin returned to her real body, she found a note that Diao left, which said her name was Diao and she wanted to be the older sister. Back in the spirit world, Diao tried hard to pull Lin, who was sliding toward the deep abyss, and insisted that she was the big sister. Hearing that, Lin only answered softly, calling Diao big sister, and then told her to live for both of them. After saying those words, Lin let go and let herself fall into the dark space. At the same time, in the real world, both of their bodies fell to the ground when Tan didn't have enough strength to hold them anymore. Sometime later, Mary received a sum of money for helping Lin and Peter. She decided to escape abroad and would never come back. As for Diao, she returned to her own body. She woke up in her bedroom and met Tan, the man she loved. When he was sure that this was the real Diao, they hugged and kissed each other. When Boss Ku walked in, Diao rushed to hug her father. Boss Ku told Tan to find a new manager, then joked that he would fire the old manager because she didn't talk nicely, and he allowed Tan to love Diao but said he would keep an eye on them. Later, Tan and Diao went to Singapore to meet Mac as promised. Mac said that after Dr. Du surrendered and reported to the police, Peter's company was investigated. Now, he had quit his job in the police force and spent time with his family. After the meal, Diao told Tan that she didn't want to go back yet. She wanted to go out and do the things Lin used to want to do, because now she wanted to live for Lin's part too. Just like what Lin told her before she left. The movie ends here. Everyone, don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next exciting movies.